Well, how you doing? Okay, this is going to be called the end of Earth rotation, or the end of the Earth rotation claim. This is London here. This is Accra in Ghana. They are basically a straight north-south. There is only a degree or so of longitude difference, if even that, between them. So this is basically as much as you could say along a longitude line. Okay, so this distance here, right, between here and here, takes 6.5 hours of flight. Right, a direct British Airways flight flies direct from London to Accra in 6.5 hours. The latitude of Accra is 5.37 degrees north. This next one would be an example of the Earth, if it was rotating and we were on a globe, then a flight from London to reach Accra, if the Earth rotated and this had to deviate in this direction to reach Accra, right, what would happen is this line would be the length of the flight. Okay, so this is the actual distance along the longitude line from London to Accra, and this would be a deviation, right? So let's just say the Earth is spinning west to east or whatever, doesn't really matter what direction you take it. Then this would be a deviation line which would be longer. So the flight has to be longer if it has to deviate, because if Earth is rotating as the flight is flying from here, from north here to south here, then that would mean that there is going to be a deviation in the length of the flight. So the flight is 6.5 hours long. So 6.5 hours, and at this latitude, the rotational rate for the globe is 1,035 miles per hour at 5.37 degrees north. So 6.5 hours later, the globe would have rotated around to here. So in 6.5 hours, a flight would have to start here on the globe at London and fly along here and reach here in 6.5 hours, which is a much longer distance, obviously, than that. But just show, so let's go to line measure 1, get info, go to measurement. So 3,162 miles, that's the length here, okay? The length between London and Accra, right? This one, the second one, the example of a deviation measurement will be 3,680 miles. So this one here will be 3,680 miles, right? That's about 500 plus miles longer. Okay, and then we go to the actual distance the plane would have to fly if it was to fly from London to Accra and the Earth was rotating. The actual distance it would have to fly, right, would be 6,251 miles, because Accra is going to be over here 6.5 hours later. So the plane takes off from London Heathrow, right, and it wants to get to Accra, but 6.5 hours later, Accra is here, right? So that's a much longer flight. So if we look at the maths for all this, London to Accra flights straight north to south. Distance 3,162 statute miles. British Airways flight time 6.5 hours. 3,162 divided by 390 minutes, right? That would be 6.5 hours. Equals 8.107, right? 8.1 by 60 minutes equals 486.46. That'd be 486 miles per hour, right? So the example deviation distance is 3,680 statute miles. So 3,680 divided by 390 minutes, which would be 6.5 hours, is 9.4, right? that's 9.4 miles per hour, which would be multiplied by 60 minutes, would be 566 miles per hour. So this would be the speed the plane would have to fly on a stationary Earth to reach London, or to reach Accra from London at 6.5 hours. It would be 486.5 almost miles per hour, thereabout, right? For a deviation due to a slow Earth rotation, a slow globe rotation, let's just say, would be 566 miles per hour. It would have to fly to reach Accra, right? But if we go the actual globe rotation deviation distance, it would be 6,251 statute miles. So that orange line is 6,251 statute miles, right? So 6251 divided by 390 minutes is 16.02. So 16.02 multiplied by 60 minutes is 961.69. So for a flight from London, UK to reach Accra, Ghana in 6.5 hours, the plane needs to fly at a constant 961.69 miles per hour on a rotating globe. The Airbus A380 is the fastest commercial airliner in the world with a top speed of 737 miles per hour. So we know that pilots don't account for rotation, and they certainly don't account for curvature. But even if the Earth was rotating, there's no plane that could fly fast enough in existence, no commercial airliner, right, that could fly fast enough to reach Accra and 6.5 hours later after leaving London, because there's no plane in existence that can fly commercial airliner in existence that flies and can fly 961.69 miles per hour. Because if we do, just for the laugh, let's just say, right? So if we minus 486.46 from that, right? So minus 486.46 equals, that's a deficit of 475.23 miles in difference per hour. That's a massive difference. So a plane would have to be flying 475.23 miles per hour faster than it does in reality. There is no way out of this. This is what a plane would have to do to reach Accra if it left London 6.5 hours per hour. This is what it would have to do. Direct flight London to Accra. Do they do this? No. They fly to Accra in 6.5 hours, and they fly an average of 486.46 miles per hour, thereabouts. That's what happens in reality. This is not reality. This is total nonsense. There is no such thing as a globe, and there certainly is no such thing as out rotation. Thanks for watching.